Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're at. It is a Top Fan Rivalry weekly review. If you're not familiar with this is Jackson. That's Jackson. I'm Bill. We do this weekly. We typically record on Thursdays, we air it on Fridays, but you know what? We're now going to just do it live. Why wait? Why make the suspense wait? So Jackson is the co-host with the most. Every week we'll be doing this on Thursday or every other week, depending on availability. But you'll know about it. You'll become a fan of the show. It will be epic. It will be awesome. Jackson, good morning. How the heck
Good
are
morning.
you on a Saturday?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Halloween was fun. It was really cold and windy in Pennsylvania, but it was good.
Well, it happens that way, right? In Pennsylvania, it gets a
Yeah,
little windy. Um,
I mean it's
Go ahead.
it stopped raining, so that was good. So had a
That's a
fun,
step in the right direction.
had a blast. Got some candy,
That's
watched
a,
some baseball. It was a good night.
So for the people that aren't familiar with who Jackson is or who I am, I'm Bill from Top Fan Rivalry. Started the epic, what I call the epic organization in 2020, and we've been live for 5 years. We're just starting to do these lives on a pretty consistent basis, and you'll see Jackson and I most Thursday nights. Typically, we do this. When we do this, it's 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. So if you're on the Pacific, you know what? It's your drive home. If you're on the East Coast, you put down the kids. You got a little sports talk to be involved with. Jackson is a huge fan of what team, Jackson? Let's introduce you.
I'm a fan of the only team with a trophy in 2025, the Atlanta Braves. Speedway Classic trophy will live forever.
Uh,
Put the banner up, boys. That's all I'm going to say. Ring
chirp,
ceremony on
chirp,
opening day.
chirp, 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 chirp. There you go. There you go. All right. So the way that we do the weekly review, if you're not familiar with it, and judging by the attendance currently, you're not, but that's okay. Jackson and I will go through between 3 and 5 different things in the week. We'll kind of debate them through things that stood out to Jackson, things that stood out to me, and then at the end of this, we do kind of some honorable mentions, maybe throw a little humor in there. Jackson knows sports statistics better than anybody that I know personally, and maybe some of the people that I don't know. I mean, he's pretty lights out when it comes to sports statistics. So we'll be doing that. That's the context of the show. And to start the show off, as you see on the bottom line, topfanrivalry.com/. Clubhouse, join that. That is a free thing that you can join. And you can be notified with everything that Top Fan Rivalry does. So you want to make sure that you join that. We don't spam you. We typically will send you one email a week, one email every other week, let you know what we're doing. We're playing pickleball next Saturday, Jackson, in Long Beach. It's going to be awesome. We just had a softball tournament, our softball game last week in Laguna Hills. And so it's going to be great. So that being said, Jackson, let's start off. Let's go. What is number one, Jackson?
I guess it's going to take 7 games. um, this has been a really back and forth series. The World Series is going 7 games, and looking at the numbers, they've played 120 World Series since 1903. 39 of them have gone to 7 games. That's roughly a third. So I guess that's an expected outcome. That's a lot. And fun fact, it's about a 50-50 split on who wins it. So this series, which has been pretty much a coin flip, is going to be a coin flip once again. I like Toronto in their home stadium. I thought they just didn't capitalize on a lot of opportunities last night, but they were in that game the entire game. But I wouldn't put it past the Dodgers to have a big game. Mr. Big Game himself, Shohei Ohtani, on the roster. So it's going to be a really interesting game. I think both starting pitchers are going to have a short leash. I haven't looked at it yet. Are the Dodgers starting Ohtani, or are they doing
Yes.
something? They are starting Ohtani. That should be interesting because he doesn't really pitch on short rest. That's probably the biggest the biggest talking point going into Game 7 is Ohtani is very much a routine guy on the Angels. I never saw him start in short rest, but he's a big game guy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the thing. They explained it on I don't know, you were probably out trick-or-treating with the kids, but they explained it on the broadcast. The Ohtani rule has some teeth in it. So if he starts as a starting pitcher and he comes out, he can then stay in the lineup as a batter. If he starts as, or if he comes in as a relief pitcher, when they pull him out, he comes out of the game or he has to play the field. So
Yeah.
you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck. And so it makes sense for them to start him today. Whether or not he goes 1 inning, 2 innings, 6 innings, 12 innings, there's no tomorrow for either team. So every pitcher, not just the starting pitchers, are going to have a short leash.
Yeah.
If some guy comes in and he walks a batter on 5 pitches, and the next batter, he might get to fly out, but it's a 12 pitch at bat. The third batter might be it for him. Who knows, right? And so, lots of short leashes today. Game 7.
It'll be interesting. It seemed weird to me that they used Glass now to close the game out last night because he seemed like the big bulk guy. So who knows what the Dodgers' plan actually is? It's probably Ohtani. Yamamoto's probably going to be a psychopath and try to get in the game at some point because that's just what he does.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
No, me neither. After watching him warm up in the 18th inning, I'm like, what is this guy doing? He pitched 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of Orr Hershiser 1988, baby. It's amazing. It's absolutely freaking amazing. It's epic. It's all of the things, dude. It's all of the things. So, okay, my number one is listen. I'm going to break down a lot of the games through my number 2s and 3s and everything like that. We don't quite know what happened with Alex Vesia and his wife, and we wish them all the best. And please, prayers for them. Everything for these guys. These guys deserve it. A baseball lifestyle is a tough lifestyle. I know everybody thinks it's awesome. People want your autograph. They're going to do all of the things. They're going to make all this money and things like that. But privacy is a big deal. And I knew a baseball player who actually wanted to go to a movie when a movie came out, and he actually had to rent the entire theater and go at midnight when the theater was technically closed to take his family to go see this movie because it just wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
So all the best to Alex Vesia and his wife. Jackson, I think this is taking a little bit of a mental toll on the Dodgers. If you kind of watch them, and again, we don't know we know she was pregnant. We don't know if she lost the baby, if she had the baby, if the baby's in ICU. We don't know if she, even worse, if something's health-wise wrong with her. We have no clue. But I think it is taking a little bit of a toll on the Dodgers, and all the best to them. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, honestly, Vesia is probably their best left-handed reliever too. So it's an even bigger toll, not only from the personnel standpoint, but from like a game standpoint. Every time you get to that big spot, you're like, man, I wish Alex was here. And then you have to think about, what he's going through. And you're like, well, he's not here for a good reason because, family comes first.
Yeah.
These are human beings. They're not baseball robots for our pleasure. They got stuff going on, and when family stuff comes up, and I give the Dodgers front office props for not even putting him on the restricted list. So he couldn't come back for this series. So he could go take care of his family at this time. It wasn't even an option,
100%. 100%.
They didn't make him pick. They said go take care of your family. You don't get to choose. Like it's bigger than baseball. And
yeah, whatever's going on with him, we wish him all the best, Alex. We tip
absolutely
our hat to you. You've had a great season. You deserve all the best, and you're a human being, and whatever's going on in your life, we just wish you all the best. And you're right. You tip your hat to him. Yeah, it's all kinds of fun. I was going to mention something that it came to that, and then it slipped my mind. I don't know. We'll come back to it. Jackson, what you got for number 2?
Number 2, should the Dodgers take a page out of the Blue Jays book and walk Vladimir Guerrero Jr. every time he comes to the plate in Game 7? That's my number 2. I'm leaning towards yes. The dude's hitting over 400 in the postseason. He's absolutely mashing the ball. It seems that every time he comes up with runners on base, he brings one in. So, if I'm the Dodgers, I'm pitching very carefully to him in Game 7 and making someone like Ernie Clement or Andres Jimenez beat me.
Okay. But remember that Ernie's hitting 400, and so is what's the dude that flew out last? Not Jimenez, Badger or whatever.
Barger, Barger,
yeah, he's hitting over 400 too. So you got to pick and choose, right?
Yeah,
I mean, these guys are just having a good series.
I mean, when you got a pitching staff, that's as stacked as it is, and it's all hands on deck. You take your chances against the guys that are less likely to to put the dagger in you. I think you got to avoid pitching to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. With runners on base, and I think the Blue Jays need to do the same with Shohei Ohtani. It didn't work out too well last night in Game 6, but all things considered, it was probably the right decision. Still,
yeah. It's interesting because last night, for the first time in the series, I saw the human side of Vladimir Guerrero, right? He started chasing a few pitches. He was expanding the zone. There was a couple inside pitches that he swung at. It's so you started to see a little bit of the human side. What's going to be interesting about your number one, which was Game 7, and your number 2, which is Vladimir, is it's going to be interesting to see how he and the rest of the team performs in a scenario that they've never been in. I mean, half this Dodgers roster has been there, right? More than half of it, and the Blue Jays haven't. So we'll see. See if that plays into nerves, right?
I mean, counterpoint, they lost Game 6 in the last series, and they came back and won Game 7.
Yeah, but we didn't ask you, Jackson, about the counterpoint. No,
I was going to say the Dodgers' experience with Game 7 in the World Series. We all know what happened last time.
Fastball.
So it was at Dodger Stadium, so that doesn't apply.
I know, but the other ones do fly. Okay, number 2. This is going to surprise you, Jackson, that I'm going to say this, but I got to give a lot of love to Alejandro Kirk. This guy is playing. He's not built like a baseball player. He's built like a middle linebacker, right? Or an offensive lineman. But the dude is playing lights out. I mean, he's a threat at the plate. He's catching a great game. He's calling an even better game. He's a great psychologist up there on the mound with these guys. If I'm the Blue Jays org, I'm looking at this guy going, dude, how do we get this guy more money?
Yeah, I think they just signed him to an extension, if I'm not mistaken, in the past year and a half. But I think he's kind of the glue for that pitching staff. He is a really good, not only behind the plate, but he does provide some pop at the bat. He's a typical Blue Jays guy. He's got some pop. He hits the ball hard, and he battles at the plate. And I think that's what the Blue Jays' biggest advantage, we talked about it before the series started, is they drag these at bats out long, and it starts to wear on you in a 7-game series. So I think Kirk, he'd get my vote for World Series MVP probably. He has a couple of home runs. He's called a good game. He's played really good defense. But I think he's been the Blue Jays' best overall player in the series.
You know what? I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I'm really not going to disagree with you on that. It's hard, being a Dodger fan, it's hard for me to point out and give props to certain things because it's Game 7. You want to be, no, this is my team. Get off my lawn type thing. But you got to give props to this guy. I mean, this guy is doing everything that you can do. I mean, he caught the freaking 18-inning game for the love of elevation, right? So, yeah, much props to Kirk. If you listen to this, Alejandro, much props to you, senor. We appreciate your efforts. So, Jackson, before we get on to number 3, for those of you that are on here or those of you that are watching the replay, please, by all means, go. It's scrolling at the bottom. You can see it. Go to topfanrivalry.com/clubhouse. It's actually right there on the homepage if you go to topfanrivalry.com. Give us your email address. We will notify you with things that we're doing. Yes, we'll notify you with things that we're doing. We're getting ready to launch some stuff for Black Friday. That's going to be super cool. Or keep you not so cool, maybe keep you warm chirp, chirp, right? We've got all kinds of fun stuff. We've got baseball card breaks. We got one coming up with Mike over at Heads Up Sports Cards. You can be notified of everything, but we can't notify you if we don't know who you are. So make sure that you go to topfanrivalry.com, click on the clubhouse page, or just go to topfanrivalry.com/clubhouse. Okay. Jackson, what do you got for number 3?
My number 3 is going to be pitching. The series has had lots of good pitching performances. Kevin Gausman took the loss last night, but he was fantastic. Yamamoto was fantastic again this postseason. And I really wanted to shout out the Trey Savage start in Game 5. Absolutely dominant. That was probably one of the best playoff pitching performances I've ever seen. I've seen quite a few, from the Roy Halladay no-hitter to the Tim Lincecum complete game against Atlanta in 2010. But Savage looked really good against the Dodgers the other night, and it was really impressive for a rookie. And I think the biggest theme with playoff pitching has been the splitter, has been the pitch of the World Series this year. It's every pitcher that's been effective has thrown a splitter, and they're mowing guys down with it.
100%. It has been frustrating. I'll just say this: last night watching the game, the first 3 innings, I was getting frustrated because Gausman was throwing that splitter at will and just making people look bad. Savage was throwing it as well and making the Dodgers just miss. And you just shake your head and you think, okay, this is going to be very long. So
yeah.
And no,
the crazy part,
pitching.
We've seen it from Ohtani too. We've seen it from Sasaki. There's been so many splitters thrown in this series. I'm sure if we tracked, it's probably 30% of all pitches have been splitters. Probably.
So Jackson, let me ask you this: if there was an MVP, you mentioned pitching. If there's an MVP, okay, so let's just for fun say that the Blue Jays win. Does your MVP go to a guy like Savage? If the Dodgers win, does it go to Yamamoto, or do you pick an offensive guy?
I think if the Dodgers win, it's got to be Yamamoto because he probably single-handedly won them 2 games. No one on the Dodgers offense has been spectacular. Ohtani's been pretty good, but I think Yamamoto's been the Dodgers' best player. And like I said, I think the World Series MVP if Toronto wins is Alejandro Kirk. Barring a big Game 7 from a guy like Addison Barger or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits 3 home runs in Game 7. Yeah, they're probably going to give him the World Series MVP. But I think my vote would have to go for Kirk and Yamamoto. I think Savage wasn't effective enough in his first start. If he pitched a little longer in his first start, I think he would have more pull after that second start. But
okay, that's fair enough. Another question for you, we're kind of going off topic, but that's fine. That's what we do. Another question for you is: have you seen? How do I say this? How has the mental game played into the physical game this series? Because you and I talk about mental mistakes all season long. We talk about mental mistakes. We talk about leading to physical mistakes. Have you seen it affect the series this year?
Absolutely. I think Toronto's losses are purely not to put anything down on the Dodgers. They executed better, but on them. Last night with the base running blunders, especially in the 9th inning, you can't give a team like the Dodgers free outs. And I think in game 3 when they went the long game, the 18-inning game, Schneider's decision to pull all of his hitters for defensive replacements early really came to bite him. Yeah. Honestly, because that game went so long because the Blue Jays kept getting runners on, they just could not get them in with the bench players. Unfortunately, but that's just how baseball is. You got to execute no matter where you are. It's next man up. So, but I think the mental mistakes have definitely been there. I think the Dodgers have had some defensive lapses, and it's burned them in a couple of games as well. You can say that the other way. They play a little bit better defense. Maybe they don't lose a game or 2.
Yeah, it's probably true. Okay. My number 3, Jackson, this might surprise you a little bit, but And no disrespect to the original Mr. October, but can we agree that Kiki Hernandez is becoming a Mr. October?
No.
Ouch, Jackson. Know your audience, Jackson. Know your audience.
Look, all I'm going to
Why do you
say
say no?
is Kike Hernandez has been playing a decade on the Dodgers in the expanded playoff format, and he's got 16 playoff home runs, which really isn't that many if you look at all the games he's played. Reggie Jackson did it when, you would play the League Championship Series and then the World Series. I'm
Okay.
just saying. You can't unseat the original Mr. October.
But I'm not talking about just the home runs, Jackson. I'm talking about the mental side of it. Last night, the way that game ended, Kiki saw the runner. He ran up and acted like that ball was going to drop, ran up, caught the ball, and was able to turn too. Like I forget the home runs. I'm talking about just all of the things. Reggie Jackson was never that good of a defender.
Well, they didn't pay Reggie to play defense.
Depends. If you ask Reggie would say they paid Reggie to hit and they paid Reggie to do what Reggie typically does. And like 19, references in the first person in one sentence.
Yep. But I think Kike Hernandez is going to fall into that Hall of Very Good because of his playoff resume.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think he's been good in the playoff. To me, it's like David Freese. David Freese was insane in the playoffs, but outside of the playoffs, he was just David Freese. That's how Kike Hernandez is for me.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing. It's like, yeah, he was pretty good in the playoffs. But
now, would he become Mr. October if he started fighting his manager in the dugout or something like that? I mean, like Jackson and Billy Martin did. Like if Dave Roberts and Kiki had a little scrum, like would that help you a little bit, or what do you need? Like another 45 home runs?
That's because no offense to Dave Roberts come October, but is he awake enough to get into a fight?
Ouch! Rough crowd. This guy going rough crowd on Dave Roberts.
He just looks very mellow.
He's chill. He's a very chill
tired.
guy.
He looks kind of tired in the dugout.
If he wins the World Series tonight, he would have won more World Series than any Dodger manager in the history of Dodger baseball. That's including Leo the Lip DeRocher. That's including Walter Alston. That's including Tommy Lasorda. Okay. If Dave Roberts, and don't tell me it's because of the lineup, because Tommy Lasorda and Walter Alston had some pretty good lineups too. If Dave Roberts manages 20 seasons as much as Tommy Lasorda managed, and he stays on this trajectory, he'll have more than 200 wins more than Tommy. If he manages 24 seasons like Walter Alston did, stays on this trajectory, he will have more wins than Walter Alston. He could potentially be the best ever Dodger manager. So, yeah, he's awake.
Yeah,
Jackson.
Look, I'm just saying, I don't hold it against Dave Roberts, but other people only think of your mistakes in the big moments. If you ask anyone about Nelson Cruz, all they're going to mention is him missing that fly ball to win the World Series. They're not going to talk about the fact that Nelson Cruz hit 450 home runs. Or Bill Buckner. What's Bill Buckner famous for? Not his playing career.
His 2,700 hits.
Yeah. But
it gets by Buckner.
That's all people. That's all people think of. So people are really. I was just making a joke about Dave Roberts. Look, he's looked a little tired in the dugout, but he does. I feel like he does manage them well on most nights because he pulled all the right levers last night to get out of all the jams. So
hey, listen, I'm a little tired. For those of you that are watching this on repeat, we started recording this at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. 7 a.m. So if you see me yawning, there's a reason for it. It's not just that I'm being a jerk. It's early, right?
Still recovering from that 18-inning game.
Oh, I was going to mention that. Oh, trust me. Jackson, what do you got for honorable mentions as we wrap up the show?
Honorable mentions. Honorable mention for the atmosphere in Toronto for the World Series. It's been really good. It's been loud. Toronto showing why, baseball is viable in Canada. And please, MLB, if you put another team in Canada, make sure that they have a good owner because, they like baseball up there, and you can get people to watch baseball in Canada. Pretty much all of Canada is watching the World Series right now. I think that's awesome.
That's very, very true. I think all of Canada. You know what I also love that they're doing is you're seeing a lot of Montreal Expos jerseys. You're seeing a lot of jerseys that you wouldn't see. And part of that has to do with Guerrero, right? But I like it. I like it, Jackson.
Yeah, the atmosphere is, what other fan base do you know gives up 3 runs in an inning in the World Series, and they're still chanting "Let's go"? They were chanting "Let's go Blue Jays" for Gausman to get out of that inning with only 3 runs.
Yeah.
It shows the level of fan support. There's a lot of fan bases who would have turned on the pitcher.
Truth.
I'm not going to name them, but they may or may not have played in this playoffs. So I'll let you guys think about that one.
We won't mention them. Jackson, I've got a couple of honorable mentions. First honorable mention is the 18-inning game. Props to both the Dodgers and the Blue Jays for their pitching in that effort. You mentioned that John had pulled out a lot of his solid hitters. Dodgers didn't. So Toronto's pitching was holding their own. I thought Will had ended it, I think, in the 16th with a home run. Turns out that we had to wait for a Canadian to end it, right? And there's a meme going around, Jackson, that could be very hurtful to the Blue Jays. It's funny if you're a Dodger fan, but it basically said, how does it feel to stay up till 3 a.m. to lose to one of your own countrymen, right? Because Freddie's mom was Canadian.
Oh, I went to bed at like midnight, and then when I woke up at 4 a.m., it's like 1 hour ago the game ended. I was like, "What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?"
Yeah, Freddie. It was so funny too because I kept thinking in my mind, he's gonna connect on one. He was so close. He had 2 of those fly balls that almost got out of the yard, and I thought, okay, Freddie, you got to connect on one at some point. You got to get an extra 10 feet on it, and life will be good. And sure enough, he eventually did and sent everybody home.
Yeah, I mean, I think that shows Dodger Stadium, though. It's a hitter's ballpark, and then the sun goes down. You wait a couple hours. It's no longer a hitter's ballpark after that.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like, the honorable mention, the only thing that I don't like right now is I don't like watching guys play hurt. Now, I know everybody's sore. I know everybody's got, Bo Bichette's got a sore knee. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are like, hey, this is the World Series. It's Game 7. You got to play. But if you watch George Springer last night, the man was in serious. Now, props to him for playing. Props to him for getting that hit that scored the run. Like, Georgie, I didn't like you because of the whole, cheating scandal thing, but I got to give you a lot of love on that. I mean, you cannot take that away from George Springer.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it this way from too. What, he's 36.
Yeah,
he's probably thinking this is his last time in the World Series,
and it could be. It could be.
So he's been pretty banged up in his career, so he might be thinking about hanging it up.
Oh, 100%. He's been pretty banged up in his career, but it's just, I hate seeing that, Jackson. I mean, last night when he swung at this, I want to say it was a second pitch in the first inning, his first at bat, and he wins. I thought, oh, dude, I get it. I love the passion. I'd probably do the same thing if I were in your shoes, but
yeah, but he battled in that at bat too. He dragged it out to like a 6-pitch at bat from 0-2.
He did.
Considering he's got half a back. Very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, this is everybody that's listening to this, or if you listen to this on replay, this is an injury that would put you out for a month or 2 in the regular season. This isn't an injury where you're out for 3 days and then you're able. And the reason why I'm complaining a little bit about him playing is not because I don't want to. Jackson, you know me. If we're playing you, I want to beat your best. I don't want your Braves fan. I don't want Acuna to be out and all these other guys to be out and us limp past you. Look at the Dodgers. They had just about everybody out when they played the Brewers, and the Brewers swept them. Well, you get to the playoffs and everybody's healthy. Guess what? Right. So that being said, I'm worried that there's going to be a longer consequence for him playing. That's the only thing that worries me.
Yeah, you say that, and it makes me think of Steven Strasburg in the Nationals' last World Series run. He literally sacrificed his arm for the World Series. And it stinks because he doesn't have full range of motion in his arm. He got paid, so for some reason Washington paid him, but it was like a thank you gift. It was a thank you gift, I guess. But Strasburg probably should not have been pitching with the amount of damage on his arm in the World Series as much as he did.
100%. Well, Jackson, let's wrap this up by telling everybody before we give them a code. Let's wrap up. For those of you that have been on here and you understand, Jackson and I will be doing a weekly review. It's called the Weekly Review with Jacksonville, actually. And so we usually take 3 to 5 topics and then a few honorable mentions as we go through them. The next live is scheduled for next Thursday night, or this coming Thursday. We'll know who the World Series champion is. We'll wrap up. We'll start some hot stove things there. Feel free going forward to put your questions or put comments in the comment section. We would be happy to answer those on any time, any format. Again, topfanrivalry.com. If you click on join the clubhouse, give us your email. It's free. You can be notified what we're doing. Now, Jackson, as we launch some things and as we do some things, people should never have to pay full price in the team store. How do they get a discount? Tell everybody, please.
Use code Jackson, get 10% off. You can get something cool like this hat I'm wearing. I don't think we have this exact hat anymore. Bill's wearing the same hat, but in blue. Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Why would I have chosen blue today?
Because he's rooting for the Blue Jays, of course.
Jackson, I know where you live and I know your parents, man. I no. And so
but yeah, use code Jackson, get 10% off. Like Bill said, grab yourself a hoodie. It's getting cold, especially if you live out here on the East Coast. You know that the weather has not been great. So
yeah, it has
bundle
not been
up for
great.
fall. Bundle up for fall. Hunker down. Enjoy that crisp air.
Yes, enjoy the crisp air. Use the code Jackson, all capital letters, spelled exactly the way that you think it is spelled. And Jackson, we're going to do this again next Thursday, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, right back here on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. Follow us on all of those socials. Follow us on Instagram. Make sure you're following Top Fan Stats Guy. Jackson typically will give some stats, and we will see that on the weekly review next week when we talk about the wrap up for the World Series and going into the hot stove. I guarantee you, Jackson comes up with some of the coolest and most random of all facts. That is a guarantee. So, Jackson, I think we did pretty good for this week, don't you?
I think so. Everyone, enjoy the first day of November, the best month with the best holiday, and enjoy Game 7 of the World Series.
Enjoy Game 7 of the World Series. We'll be back next Thursday. Appreciate you. Jackson, stick around. Everybody have a great and wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye now.